What's Good About Anger? Anger Management Program. This video is based upon the book What's Good About Anger by Lynette J. Hoy and Ted Griffin. Mrs. Hoy is a national certified counselor and licensed clinical professional counselor, and Ted Griffin is an author and editor for a major publisher. Most people believe that anger is a negative emotion from which no good can come. Many people believe that anger should not be expressed and that such feelings are just wrong. This book and this program explore the emotion of anger and how anger, which is a part of the human experience, is a force that can be used for good. We hope you will benefit and enjoy this presentation, which will teach you what's good about anger.
Usually when I think of anger, I think of my younger days when I would get angry, and I used to get into a lot of fights. I used to be a very confrontational person, so I guess I think of fighting and things like that and destruction of whatever's around me.
Mad, sad, frustration, physical fighting.
Stress, fight.
Rage, I don't know.
Yelling, screaming, getting red in the face.
Fear, hostility, those kind of words.
I view anger personally. I mean, I think it's inevitable. Everybody's going to be angry from time to time, but I think it's good to know how to deal with your anger so that you're not causing damage to yourself or others.
As part of life, I guess, but I don't know. Something that everybody has to deal with. Some people are better at it than others, I guess.
I try to avoid being afraid by being informed. Understanding overcomes ignorance, and that's what overcomes fear.
How do I view anger? Well, I don't like anger. I think people should try not to get angry, that we should learn how to communicate with each other.
Anger is a great force. If you control it, it can be transmuted into a power which can move the whole world. Anger, of course, can be harmful, as this quip describes. A man is never in worse company than when he flies into a rage and is beside himself. Anger increases heart rate, ulcers, high blood pressure, cardiovascular diseases, mental health, and relationship disorders. So how do you know when anger is a problem? When it's too frequent, too intense, lasts too long, leads to aggression, disturbs work or relationship.
I guess I'd say it could be a good thing sometimes. For example, I teach a course on political participation, and sometimes because people have realized that they've been abused by the system, they get angry at the system, and that will lead them to go out and get politically active. But that's different from, yelling and screaming.
Righteous anger, when somebody does something genuinely evil, you have to be mad at them. I mean, I think it's necessary sometimes.
There is such a thing as good anger. It is anger governed by self-control, motivated by compassion, desiring what is right versus what is wrong. Feelings of anger are normal and at times justified. The degree to which you become angry, the reasons for your anger, and the outcome of your anger determine whether your anger is, in fact, good.
I think there's a huge relationship between stress and anger because, when you're stressing yourself out, you constantly, driving at what little energy you have left, and it gets to the point where your mind is really either, controlled or uncontrolled, which I would refer to as the anger.
Related, I think stress could be a trigger for anger. The more stressed out you are, the more likely you are to be angry about things.
Well, to me, the relationship between stress and anger is, well, first of all, it's biological. A lot of times we are still have that lizard brain going around in our head, and we react to things in a way, increased heart rate, increased adrenaline in our system. So I think that's a the biological factor and an emotional factor creates stress, stress within all of us, and being able to control our anger is a great way to help control our stress. Probably meditation, quiet time, walking, exercise, although I don't get a lot of it.
Best way to handle anger is, well, for somebody who's rational, in my opinion, is to, sit them down for a second. Like time, let them think about what he's doing.
I think you can train yourself to not react to certain things in a violent, angry way. I think there's something can be done, like maybe anger management could be something that could help, but not something that I have much experience in.
I suppose the best way to overcome it is to get them to think rationally by talking to them. And, tell them to use that same method, work their way back from where they're at now to the original cause.
Recommendations to handle anger, I think it's just a quick breather to really think whether it's worth it to be angry or not on the occasion.
Do not be angry with me if I tell you the truth, wrote Socrates. Assertiveness is not aggressive or passive. Assertive people express their thoughts and feelings forthrightly without getting squashed or squashing others.
What does forgiveness mean to me?
Forgiveness is the single hardest thing to do.
Forgiveness to me is forgiving someone else's faults. So we're all human. We all are, imperfect. So everyone has faults. So everyone should forgive someone else because you've made that same mistake surely somewhere down the road.
I think letting go of the things in life that people have wronged, letting go of the wrongs that people have done to us, and even though you feel like you're right, it's letting go of that feeling that you're right.
It's just a characteristic of good nature.
I mean, without forgiveness, it'd be terrible. It'd be crazy out here. Because, I mean, people get mad every day. So if it wasn't no forgiveness, I would hate to live in that society.
You gotta forgive and forget. It's the hardest thing in the world to do, but it's the only way that humanity can advance itself.
How much of a problem do I think anger is in society? I think it's a huge problem. I think it backs up a lot of the war and a lot of other things. I think anger is an emotion that people feel often, and because they feel it often, they feel a need to attack, and it oftentimes can create negative conflict.
It's a big problem. People are afraid. People are hostile.
Not bigger than other problems, not especially, no. I mean, it's a problem, but it's not I wouldn't say it's one of the bigger ones.
Well, I think that people don't have any patience, so we have too many people on the roads. You have road rage. You have way too many people with way too many guns who are using them.
I think it's actually a pretty big problem. I think a lot of people have failed to realize that that's something they need to control.
Well, I think it leads people to make some really stupid decisions, so it can be a really big